Time is limited. Boy, and I've come to understand that doing 2 services. And, last week I was talking with Eric, and he said, I think this is going to be a challenge. He said, it seems like you'd feel rushed during the first service and have all this freedom in the second service. I said, oh, yeah, that's exactly what it's like. And he said, so when do you normally let them out? I said, no, you can't go by what I do. I'm going to give you a time limit. I'm not bound by time, but you are. And I know some of you are thinking that I have a problem with time. I don't have a problem with time. I'm just not bound by it. And some of you are like, I wish you were more bound by time. Carolyn told me in a service here a while back that one of the kids who was in the service, and I think the kids have done an excellent job being in the service, and I'm very proud of all of our kids and the way they've conducted themselves during this time. But one of the kids, she heard one of the kids say in one of the services, something to the effect of, when's he going to be done? And I'll be done when I'm finished. You're already thinking, man, if you just get on with it. I know what some of you are thinking. If you would just get on to the message here, this is part of the message, and already you're tuning me out. Time plays a big role in our life, and for some, it's something that they're constantly trying to catch up to, never seem to reach it. And for others, it's what rules their life and dictates to them the where and the whens of life. But God's not bound by time. He's not bound by time, but He did give us time as a measurement and something that we look at. And the thing that the main reason God has given us time is so that we know that our time on earth is limited. No matter who you are, your time is limited. We think, I've got all the time in the world. No, you don't. Your time is limited. And you may have heard it said that we all have the same amount of time. There's 24 hours in the day, and we all have those 24 hours. And although that is true, that 24 hours is the measurement of time for a day. The quantity of time differs because you and I don't know when our time will be up. And as a result, most of us waste a lot of time. And though I'll primarily be speaking to men this morning, this message applies to all of us. And I'm not just speaking to fathers, I'm speaking to all men, because I believe that all men have a very specific responsibility given to us by God. And I want us to be reminded that our time is limited and we better do something with the time that we have. And God gives us time and place limits on our time. It isn't that it should scare us, but rather that it should motivate us. Motivate us to make the best use of our limited time. So in Ephesians chapter 5, this is what he says. Look carefully then, verse 15, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time because the days are evil. We live in an evil time. So, well, how did you know we're talking about this time specifically when he wrote this? Listen, all of time is evil because all men are sinners and always have been. The question is, what are we doing with the time that we have? Are we making our life count? Are we being wise in the way that we conduct our lives? That in such a way that it is being done for a purpose and a reason. You know what men like to do? Women get together and they gossip. Men get together and we just blow a lot of hot air. We have opinions on everything. And we like to get together and share our opinions. In college, we called it snack shop theology. Because we'd all meet down in the snack shop and get a cup of coffee, or those who weren't men yet probably got a soda or something like that. You know, the measure of a man is how much coffee he drinks. I suspect I'm more men than all of you. The reality is we'd get down there, and what do? The news would be on, or sports would be on, and we had an opinion about every story that came on TV. And we talk as though our opinion is authoritative. And when we get together, men, that's what we still do. We get together, whether it's in the snack shop or whether it's in the fellowship hall or whether it's in the foyer, whether it's on your job, wherever it is. When men start getting together, we have opinions about everything, and we gather together and we speak as though our opinion is authoritative. And then when we're done speaking, we walk away and nothing changes. What a waste of time. When I look at the state of our country, our nation, our homes, and it's easy to look and we'll blame this group or that group. We'll blame the sinners, we'll blame the lost. I got to tell you, I believe deeply it is because Christian men have wasted their time. And we no longer have the influence in our society that we once did. We still have strong opinions, Christian opinions, so that makes them right. Biblical opinions, so we know they're solid. Our opinions don't matter if we're not doing anything. We need to use our time wisely. Rather than debating politics, rather than debating society woes, rather than debating on what's patriotic and what's not patriotic, we need to use our time wisely and do something for the honor and glory of God. Because your time is limited. And there's going to come a time where each one of you will stand before God, and He is not interested in your opinion because He already knows your opinion. He's not going to say, well, let me judge you based on your opinion. He is going to judge you on the motivations of your life and what you have done. Have you used your time wisely? I only have 3 points for us this morning. 3 areas that I think we need to honestly consider and ask ourselves, are we using this time wisely? The first is this: you need to use your time to seek God, not self. Use your time to seek God, not self. Christian men have traveled down the road of success. We have bought into the American dream, which is to build your dream life, to be successful, to gain wealth, to have an easy life. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you can live responsibly. And if you want to live responsible now, and you want to gain wealth, and you want to gain fortune now, it's so that later you can eat, drink, and be merry. This is what the world teaches us. And then we at some point we add wife to the occasion. And this is the sad thing, and it is still wrong to add a woman to the equation without adding her as your wife. That was never God's intended plan. God's intended plan was for you to join together as husband and wife. And we come together. But here's the problem. Too many times, that's just part of what man wants to complete his life, to fulfill his life. This is going to make my life better. It helps me achieve my goals. And then part of my goals is also adding family and having children. And that's going to complete my life somehow. And, the reality is I've seen way too many times where marriages fall apart because they were entered into with something other than bringing honor and glory to God. They weren't seeking God, they were seeking what they wanted. And when you seek what you want, and then suddenly times get hard, and suddenly the wife of your youth doesn't provide you with the same kind of satisfaction and the same feelings that she did when you were young, you know what happens? Sin. Destruction, disappointment. I don't understand why men can walk away from families. It seems foreign to me, but the idea that family was going to provide something that it did not provide seems prevalent. And I can get that somewhere else. The problem is, even good Christian men buy into this philosophy, which is so prevalent, that your life is what you make of it, and seek that which you want. And it's all open to us. And if you work hard, you can have anything that you want. Those sound like some good things. Motivational speakers, they'll take those deals and we'll sit there and listen to them and we're like, yeah, that sounds good. And I get motivated to get up and go do something, get up and go accomplish something, because I can be whoever I want to be if I work hard and I pursue these things. And it leads to this continual pursuit of happiness. And it's what all the world is seeking. Jesus said this in Matthew chapter 7. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. That wide gate represents the world's values. It's that relentless pursuit of success and pleasure and approval. And that's the easy road to find. It's the one that we are constantly told that we should be going down. It's the one that we're constantly told, if you get on this road, you can be whoever it is that you want to be. So we get on that road. Now, as good Christian men, we take God with us. But we're on the wrong road. And it leads to destruction, and it leads to that which takes us away eventually from God. Too many men aren't seeking God. Too many Christian men aren't seeking God. They're seeking the life that they want. The world says it leads to happiness. Jesus says it leads to destruction. So who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe the world? Or are you going to believe Jesus? There's a real appeal to believe the world. I like to be happy. I think most of us do. Sounds good. And even it's not like they're saying, no, you have to break any kind of moral code that you might have or anything else. You can just pursue this and still be a good, decent person. But you're seeking what you want, and you're not seeking God. And in this life, we are going to have problems. We have to decide who we're going to believe. Do you believe that following the philosophy of the world is going to bring you happiness, or do you believe Jesus says, oh no, eventually that leads to destruction? It does lead to destruction. Look at our world. Show me the happiness. If we believe Jesus, we have to get off that road and use our time to seek God and bring glory to Him. Get on that narrow road. And the reality is, in this narrow road, you know what's going to happen? We're going to have the same problems. It doesn't matter whether we're going down this wide path or whether we choose to go down the path that Jesus leads, which is this very narrow path. You know what? The same problems exist on both paths. But there is a huge difference, because on that narrow path, you're going to find the things that you will not find on the broad path. You're going to find hope. You're going to find forgiveness. You're going to find inner peace. You're going to find joy. Those are things you're only going to find if you're seeking God in life. And you know what concerns me is sometimes, because we say this thing and we see this narrow road sometime as the scenic path. You hear a message like this about the peace and the joy and the forgiveness and the hope that comes from that, and you're like, oh yeah, I know that's true. How do you know it's true? I traveled down that road for a little bit. I looked at that. I've told you, I like to plan out my paths and everything, my trips and everything, my journeys, and I know the roads I'm going. And I'm not looking for the scenic path when I travel. I'm looking for the most direct, the fastest route. I want to get where I'm going. I don't want to stop. But every once in a while, if I'm taking especially a short trip, it's like, okay, well, hey, I wonder if this other route would be more scenic. I don't mind taking another route that's more scenic, and I can enjoy the scenery. I like scenic routes when it doesn't interfere with where I'm going. And I think too many Christian men have viewed this narrow way as nothing more than a scenic route that once in a while it's okay to detour on that route as long as it doesn't interfere with where I'm going. I enjoy the time I spend on the narrow route, but I got to get back to the wide path because I got someplace I'm going with my life. Seek God continually. It's not a game. It's not just something that we add to our life so that we can have this moment in the sun where we can say, oh, wow, look at God's beauty and God's creation. Look at the peace that I have. Look at the forgiveness that I have. And now that I've got my feel of these things, I can get back to what I was always pursuing. We use it kind of as a resting time, to refuel, to get re-energized so we can get back on the path that we want to go down. You know, people who have success in our society are oftentimes considered wise because of the fortune that they have. And I was watching them debate over whether or not we're supposed to have baseball this year, the MLB and all these things, and one of the commentators made a comment about the owners are stupid. And one of the other guys says, oh no, these guys aren't stupid. They have billions of dollars. They can't be stupid and have billions of dollars. I beg to differ. Money is not, and success in this world does not make you smart, doesn't make you dumb. Here's wise men don't expect wealth and success to fill their hearts and make them happy. It doesn't mean that they're not successful. They just have a different expectations from that which they receive in life. They're not looking for it to complete them. Wise men are completely committed to God and make Him the primary focus of their lives. Our time is limited. We need to stop wasting it on the life that we want because it will lead to destruction. The way we will use our time wisely is by seeking God. Seeking Him. And then number 2, use your time to be a light, not a lightning rod. Be a light, not a lightning rod. Boldness for Christ is not the same as a spiritual bully. This was one that took me a little while to learn because I used to like being a bully. And I used to like to fight. And not the physical fight, but any confrontation. I was like, yeah, I'm up for it. Let's go. You want to pick a fight? Yeah, I'm good with that. And I like that. And too many times we think that being a light, that's what that means. Listen, being a Christian man, you're in a fight. And we're told to put on the armor of God. We're told to be soldiers. We are in a fight, but we got to pick the right fight. And I think a lot of times we're not picking the right fight. We're choosing to be a lightning rod rather than a light. Because we're not wrestling with flesh and blood, but yet we act like we're wrestling with flesh and blood. Instead of pointing people to Christ, we're trying to beat them up and drag them to Christ. And we think that's going to work. You clean up your life or I'll clean it up for you. We need to be a light. The Philippians 2:14 and 15 says, do all things without grumbling or disputing, that you may be blameless and innocent, children of God, without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Now, I got to tell you, and I like to be honest with you, I struggle with this sometimes. Without grumbling or disputing. Now, I don't grumble a whole lot. I'm more of a disputer than I am a grumbler. Some of you are more grumblers than you are disputers. The reality is we're not supposed to be doing either one of them. We're supposed to be innocent children of God in this crooked and twisted generation. What does that look like? Last night, I posted a picture of my dad on Facebook. And many of you made comments and wished us Happy Father's Day, and I appreciated that. I was reading some of the comments, and many of the people you wouldn't have known. The people here, you either liked it or it was just a Happy Father's Day greeting, which was very nice. Appreciated that. But you know what stuck out to me was some of the comments of the people who actually know my father, talking about the light that he has been. The light that he has been. It got me to wondering, if someone posted my picture, what would people say? If someone posted your picture, what would they say? What feelings would it invoke? Too often as men, we feed the rage inside of each other rather than keep the light burning, keep the light shining. It's easy for us to get together and find something that we don't like in our world, in our society, and let's all get on the soapbox together against this. That's not shining the light. We're picking fights with flesh and blood. Let's go out and share the light of Jesus Christ in a dark world. Let's love them no matter what. We have a limited time. We need to stop grumbling and disputing. We need to be seen as people that honestly care, not compromising. And that, I think that's part of the reason. I'm not going to compromise, Pastor. If you're asking me to compromise on my morals, if you're asking me to compromise on the Word of God, no! You don't have to compromise to love somebody. If you do compromise, it's a failure of your love. We don't need to fight the world. Our job as Christians isn't to clean the world up. It is to share the love of Jesus Christ, because that's the only hope they have. If the whole world were to stop sinning today, they would still die and spend eternity in hell if they do not know Jesus Christ. And yet we might pat ourselves on the back and say, look at what a clean world we live in. We're wasting our time. As a result, we have very little impact. Light has impact. Light makes a difference. And then lastly, and this point is directly to the fathers, use your time to lead your family, not enjoy your family. Man, love my family. Love my family deeply. I love family time. And our family, and everybody has their own family traditions, and ours has changed through the years, and yours may have changed through the years as well. It used to be, back when we were younger, you remember what we'd do every Thanksgiving? After Thanksgiving lunch? Play football. We go out, all the cousins, my dad, my mom. Mom was ruthless. And we'd go to the park and we'd play football. That was our family tradition. We don't do that anymore. I think some of the younger ones would still like to. I'm wiser now. But we still, family tradition, go to a movie. And it was about being with family. Game nights. Every time we love getting together and having game nights. When the family comes over, the kids are home, we're going to play some games. And we go to my parents' house. We're going to have a whole bunch of people, friends and family and cousins over, and we're going to play games. And I got to tell you, I don't really enjoy the games that much. It's like, I can take or leave the games. But you know what I enjoy? The family being together. That's what I enjoy. And I think it's great. And God gave us family to be a blessing in our life. But men, you have a greater responsibility. If you are a father, or if you're going to be a father, and I think if you're going to be a father, or if you're a new father, you got to get this and you got to understand this, because the danger is, I need my kids to like me, and I need to make sure they're having fun all the time. And your kids are going to want you to make them have fun all the time. And that makes for a poor father. Got to lead your family. You can enjoy your family, but your primary responsibility given to you by God is to lead your family. Too many fathers have completely wasted that time with family. Because family time has been more important than leading them into a godly relationship. Because what they need, more than you creating fun memories, is for you to lead. I received a text from Sarah this morning. I'm amazed at the young lady that she has become. It was to tell me Happy Father's Day, but it was a long text. And we've had a lot of fun together. And she was thanking me for all these things that she considers that I have provided as a father. And none of it was about the fun stuff. It was about the talks and the godly example. Because at some point, just like we don't play football anymore. Can't. What if that's all you have? At some point, what you consider fun is going to wear out. What if that's all you have? What if you have never led them to seek God in everything? I'm thankful that she will call when she's going through something difficult. And when you're 20 years old, there's a lot of stuff that seems very difficult. Dad is in the hospital. They took him to the ER last night. They thought he'd had a stroke. his time is short. We know that it is. They're not sure. They're running some tests today to determine if it was a stroke or not. And during the COVID-19, it just makes everything so much more difficult. My sister's future daughter-in-law called Sarah. Said, I'm so glad you're able to be there. You provide a calming influence. I hope and pray it's because she has learned that in the difficult times, you turn to God and you hold to Him and you hold to His promises. And when you don't know anything else, you look for His presence because it's going to be there, and that's what's consistent. Listen, as a father, you're not going to have all the answers. She calls me up and at times, and Bryce will call me up at times, and they're facing stuff that I don't know. I didn't go through those kind of things. And especially with Sarah and her friends at school. And, you know, the part of me is just like, get over it. But she calls me, not because we had fun together, because to the best of my ability, I've tried to lead. And I didn't ever want to waste a moment not leading, not directing towards God. You know where that comes from? My dad. And I'm going to be honest with you, this morning, I was like, I don't know. I don't think I want to go preach on Father's Day. When I didn't even know if I was going to be able to wish my dad a happy Father's Day. And I did this morning what I've seen my dad do for as long as I can remember. I got up and I prayed and I sought God and I sought His presence, and I was less concerned about my problem and more concerned about just being close to God. And I had a peace. Last night I couldn't even talk to Mom because she didn't take her cell phone with her when they took him up to the hospital, and because of the COVID-19, information was difficult to get. And I was very concerned. I just felt like I needed to talk to Mom, and I couldn't. I found out this morning that she had her cell phone when I talked to Sarah this morning. So immediately I told Sarah, I said, okay, well, I'll talk to you later. I need to call Granny. That's what she's known. I said, I need to call Granny. Last night, here's what I knew. Dad was so weak he couldn't talk. They said he would move his mouth, so they felt like he was hearing, but no sound was coming out. I called Mom this morning on her cell phone, and I'm at peace. I've spent time with God. And she said, he's doing a little better this morning. He said, you want to talk to him? You know why that means so much to me? Because my Father led me. We didn't just have fun together. The reality is it's been years since we've been able to play any games with Dad. We go down there, we sit, and we talk. Because that's all he can do. And I will miss his leadership in my life. I will miss him asking if I've prayed about it. I will miss him telling me, will you trust God? So this morning he said, there's no need for you to come down here. You can come down here when I die. I said, Dad, have I ever listened to you? And he chuckled. And that was the end of the conversation because he was tired. Man, we don't have that much time. It is limited. And the things that we value and the things that we think are important, that we think are going to mean the most to our kids, it's that time we spent together as a family. I'm telling you, you will be gone one day, and what will stick and what will remain is if you have led your family. I'm not telling you not to enjoy your family. Oh, no. But don't forsake the leading. Don't make family time the most important time, because the most important thing is for them to seek God. And men, if you're not seeking God, if you're wasting your life not seeking God, how will your family know that that's the most important thing? So what does your family see as the most important thing to you? When your children have to make choices for themselves, do you want them to choose the wide path or the narrow path? Do you want them to choose what they think will be the most fun for them? Or that which will bring the most honor to God? That'll determine how you lead. Time is limited. Time is limited. If you're young and you're here today, the reality is you don't see, most young people look at it as, I've got plenty of time. I got plenty of time. It passes quickly. You don't have plenty of time. Don't waste this time when you have energy and strength to make a difference. To the fathers who are here, you have a responsibility that's been given to you by God. And I don't think that responsibility ends when the kids leave the home. My dad's still trying to fulfill his responsibility. And for the old men, you have the benefit of lessons learned. And the truth is, some of those lessons you learn the hard way. You have a responsibility not to waste that time. God is not done with you. This idea that, well, it's time for somebody else to step up and do it. Then lead them. We don't accomplish anything by standing around and complaining about the younger generation. We can gather together, all of us, 40 and above. Let's gather together. Let's go out there in the foyer and let's talk about how useless this new and young and millennial generation is. And when we walk away, we will all feel good about ourselves because we are all in agreement that they are useless and they don't work as hard as us and they are not as responsible as us. And we were so much better when we were at that age. And we will walk away and we will have accomplished nothing but wasted our time. You want something different? Then do something. Invest in a younger man's life. Invest in the next generation. Teach them to seek God with all their heart. Don't just walk away from here this morning and think, that was a good message. Boy, that really hit home. Boy, Pastor, you really stepped on my toes. If that's the extent of what you get out of this message today, then the last hour has been a complete waste of time. Do something. Seek God. Be used of Him. It makes a difference. You can be a light. You can be a leader. And if you haven't been, this idea that it's weak to apologize, it's weak to say that you're wrong. No, it's weak not to admit that you're wrong. It's weak not to fall on your knees before God and say, I was wrong, forgive me. And then to get up in that forgiveness and the strength that He gives and go to whoever it might be, whether it's your family, whether it's your children, whoever it might be, and say, I was wrong. I've not led well. I've not shown light well. I want you to forgive me, and I also want you to know I'm not going to be the man that I used to be. And lead. Use your time well. Use your time well. I'm going to ask the praise team to come. We're going to bring our services to a close.